Hi to everybody.
Hi.
Thank you also for
Hi.
the public that is watching us. We are live from finally Lago Film Fest, direct from the festival. Here is Francesca, and here we have Regina Lisowska. Then there is Sofia Castro and Silvina Sperling. So really welcome. I will introduce very fast our guest today. So me, I'm the dance curator of the dance department of Lago Film Fest, and with me the beautiful work of the selection of the moving bodies competition was Sofia Castro, that we did really a great job during 1 year, almost 1 year. So what we are seeing here in the festival is just really the epics of big work. So thank you very much, Sofia. She's also film director. And here, finally, someone live with me. There is Regina. She's a dance curator of Dancing with Camera of Shortwaves Festival. She's also a researcher and she's dancer programming. And she's here. I hope are you passing well the time with us?
Yes.
Apart hot weather, because we have really 33 degrees during the day, and it's unbelievable. Sophia, do you want to introduce Silvina?
Yeah. Yes. Well, I'm Sofia, and I'm here to introduce Silvina. Silvina is she has been choreographing since the 80s and creating dance pieces for video for the stage. She's a dance curator. She is the founding member of the Buenos Aires Dance Film Festival, the oldest festival for dance films in Latin America. And she's also teaching, doing lots of things, being founder member of lots of things to uh, showcase dance films around the world. So thank you, Silvina, for joining us.
Thank
from
you.
Argentina.
Yeah, exactly. I want just to say to our viewer, our public, that we are connected from Italy, exactly from Lagro, from Lago Film Fest, and Sofia and Silvina, they are in Buenos Aires. Unfortunately, we could not meet personally, but soon we will organize a reunion. Today we will speak about something related with dance screening, but I want also to thank you very much, Giovanni, that is part of our jury, Silvina, Regina, and Giovanni, for the first edition of our competition. He is in Germany now, and we will speak with him about performing art in a second time. So next days. So let's start. Maybe we can start from speaking about the time that we are living, that it's quite strange after a big pandemic crisis, and especially for art sector. We were basically in lockdown for quite 2 years. Something is going on now, but yeah, we are thinking, and we are thinking about our field and how he is developing. So dance screening, that is dance on screen, is a sector really that we in this period we saw a lot of improving. And so I would like to start to ask you, maybe just to introduce and warming up a bit, how you saw from your experience from your festivals, how was the impact of the COVID related with dance screening. Maybe we can start like this.
Who will start? Well, I can start if you want. Well, actually, I think on one side, of course, it has the pandemic that is still going on, right? It's not over, because actually we thought it would. I mean, I think most of the people that I've talked, we all thought that will be like a 2-3 months thing, and it's over a year and a half, and we don't know when it will end. on if it will end. So at the beginning, I think it was an explosion of performance artists diving into making videos and trying to reach out to the world in any way they could. And the huge dance companies like official ballets to the dance students at home, everybody started to broadcast themselves, and some of them took a real interest in the language of screen dance or video danza that we've been, some of us, we've been working on it for more than 25 years, or other people, of course, more. And it has a development, it has a history as an artistic language, right? So I welcome that so many people got interested, and many of them also started to studying and experimenting in quite a serious way, and also big companies investing production resources into it. And of course there's anything from like I'm dancing at my home with my kids and I want to broadcast this, to like the professional dancer in their tubs. There's like explosion of screen dance in bathrooms, tubs, and kitchens, which is not the first wave. Actually, in the 90s it was also the case, but for different reasons. And well, the whole festivals that also started to exist, so that is very welcomed, and especially the people who kind of casually got a real interest. So also researchers and stuff. But I've seen that also in universities and other institutions, they kind of like were obliged to try to do something about it, because any exercise for like any performance art subject will be through video. So that that made the ball roll, let's say, and that is very welcome. Then of course I think there will be some people who will lose interest at some point. And in this second year, also the impact of the losses, the people that are gone, deceased, or they have como se dice, secuelas. They have effects from their illness. They could manage to survive, but many people are hurt. So that I think will come a second, less enthusiastic thing about screen dance, or about performance arts in general, that will start to see more about not so much the optimism and the energy that I want to get out in via media, but also some hurt, some pain that is going on. And of course, as a mechanism of defense and of survival, that is very human, and also we need that. But the extreme optimism is not always the answer also. So well, that will be a second subject for this. But in general, and I think Regina will agree, we have a lot of demand. I mean, it's like it became very popular, and that we welcome. So it would be nice that the interest of the institution, especially, because I have always trust on artists. I know that artists we are strong characters and strong animals, so to speak. So we want to survive anything. Yeah. But then for the institutions, it's good for them to know that it's not only putting band-aids on things, but it's also that you have to really go with the artists' lives and with their needs, and the resources must be there to support us.
Absolutely.
So sorry if I went too long.
No, it's good. Regina, do you want to add something, or because I have
maybe it's not very much on the optimistic side, but as you mentioned, Selena, this increase of production of the dance production moving to audiovisual media, but it also comes with some difficulties how to secure that it is still perceived as an art form, because in so much of internet content on social media, on I don't know, YouTube or TikTok even, stepping into this dance trend also.
Absolutely.
It's very difficult to still keep interest and this deepened insight into artistic works.
Yeah.
How to delimitate it from this private made content, because it feels for most of the audience using social media, it feels like more
easy way. Yeah.
It also encounter a lot of troubles with actually understanding that dance film created as an art form, that it needs support and recognition as an art form, but it's not the free internet content institution can take and use and put it on their website. They have to still secure the fees and all that, and there are screening rights, and it's also moving screenings online also brought a lot of struggle with this technical issues, but also with legal issues about rights, the privacy settings. Allowing artists to keep control over their work in the internet. This is really tricky.
This is also very, exactly today we were doing a press meeting with the producer and the director of the Broken Phone project. They are here, and so we are very happy. And we had the chance this morning to discuss a little bit about the increasing of the production of dance screening in this moment. That is, was like an increasing, really, especially for the festival. They told me, one of them, she was working in Cine Dance in Amsterdam, and she said that they received an amount of works that, comparing with the other years, there's no way. I mean, it was full. But the important, as you said, as that there is a difference now between the production, amatorial production, and professional production. I mean, if you have to put the camera, it doesn't mean that you are doing a great dance movie. Of course, there is a big history behind, a lot of backgrounds that you have to put in this work. And I absolutely agree that we need the support. It's not just really to do a simple video, and also if it's very democratic way to be on also internet.
I think, can I say something? I think it also has to do with issues that that are really old and previous. If I'm allowed to speak a little bit about capitalism and state programs and stuff. So, for example, I've seen it's always this case, like I don't know, TV channels or big funding commissioning programs. They tend to go towards well-known choreographers who are very I'm very respectful of the huge and the small. I don't have a personal problem with the choreographers themselves, But we've seen for many years, like in IMZ, that used to be a huge gathering for European screen dance world, that there's tons and thousands of independent artists, choreographers, filmmakers, etc., musicians, etc., that struggle to do something very, very good with a small amount of money, and then with any channel or any huge funding scheme will go to the well-known established choreographers, and they already have like their own theater, 30 dancers. It's like they don't really need so much more to do what they do, but there's also always this tendency, and I think it's wrong to understand art like that, right? I mean, always the independent artists, even these well-known choreographers, were, when they were young, unknown artists. And of course, some of them succeeded to make a career. Other people go to other fields like IT, or like community management or whatever makes them survive. But there's always this huge weight, right? Like the institutions and the supporting schemes are heavy, in the sense of like they move slow, and they want to have a secure product, and art is not a secure product field. I mean, art is about experimenting, inventing stuff, right? So we need more mobility in that, much more mobility, but not in terms of traveling and tourism and that exploitation of the earth thinking, but mobility in terms of minds that have trust in young or unknown people. They don't have to be young. Some people are old and they still experimenting, but so, well, anyway, there's something that there are many networks of independent artists that are giving the fight for that, right? But it's difficult to succeed in that, but we have to keep trying.
Yeah, and time. If I can add, time to develop, the work and the trust. For example, exactly yesterday night we were speaking about two big names, apropos about Pina Bausch and William Forsythe, but they are in this level because, of course, they were super talented. But what they did, they had a big trust from the institutions. It's true that they had this big theater, but also a lot of time to develop a work, basically, and also to have the chance to fail, because they were big level. Of course, we are speaking about really super level, but sometimes some production were not so beautiful as other one. So time, 20 years, just invest time, money, exactly to develop the work. And absolutely, for independent scene, I totally agree with you, Silvina. Sophia, do you want to say something that we interrupted?
No. I was just thinking of, like, speaking of younger people going into dance screens, into dance films, and like more independent thinking of dance films. What do you, Silvina, Regina, and Francesca, think of? Also thinking about what you have been seeing or what you think is coming now about like maybe new technologies or new ways of thinking dance films. What do you think about that approach? I mean, have you seen anything new, or do you think there's new ways of making dance films coming up?
Definitely. definitely one factor is, of course, the technology and shift it brings in terms of tools, because it's very available to everyone right now. Just having a mobile phone and quite set of quite useful tools to edit, so it gets quite easy and intuitive, especially for young people, and it doesn't require a big budget to make it basically. But it, oh God, of course. But it doesn't not mean that it doesn't always come with awareness of the medium itself and of the screen dance poetic and history of the genre. So it's well, it's often happens that somehow it's inventing the wheel over again. Yeah, so that's one thing, and I think it's strongly connected also with the DIY aesthetics. That's strongly emerging over the last 10 years. Also very connected with social media and how the work, the screen dance is presented.
Hey, Regina, can you explain, because for sure we will have some viewers that they don't know about this
DIY?
DIY.
It's short for do it yourself.
Thanks. Now, because it's some words that we use in our field, but maybe some people that are watching the interview. Okay. Thank you very much.
So I think as an audience, we all watch a lot of content, and we are used to somehow this aesthetic also. So the film does not have to be perfect in post-production or filmed aligned with some rules, or it's more open to the ways how the work can be created. It's also very opening and refreshing in terms of aesthetic, but it also comes with a huge amount of works that are, like, as I mentioned, TikTok before, or all that. So it's sometimes perhaps it's our job as a curators to put the works in the right context. And to give it the recognition as an art.
And Silvina, what do you think about new trends or new ways of thinking dance and film and the combination both?
I think the most remarkable change or new thing that is coming has to do with university students that are more and more like people from performance arts or from film background, because it has always, from my point of view, that I started in the 90s, it was always the case to mix, right, to the hybrid form, how in new ways of combining audiovisual with dance or moving bodies or theater or performance art, or right. So I think I think that technology has becoming more and more available. I see it as the same current that has been growing with the years, right? So it was difficult to have your own camera in the 90s. Now it's mandatory, right? So everybody has to take pictures and publish them. But I see that's a change, of course, and there's lots of formats, right? So formats and support has always influenced the work of art. Like, it's not the same to paint with all paints than to have watercolors or whatever. In this case, it's more or less the same. But for me, the new thing is seeing lots and lots of students from all kinds of art schools coming into video dance or screen dance with their own aesthetics, and adding, using the tools freely. I think, my point of view is always to give freedom to to artists, because you never know what someone can invent, right? Of course, many times is inventing the wheel again. It's fine, but also a new trend is there's a lot of young curators in this field, and that, I think, as Regina said, maybe as curators, we have an important role now, right? Like as teachers, but of course, teachers are supposed to reflect on their jobs and keep investigating.
Yeah.
But curators, we used to call it the screen dance family, that we were like, I don't know, 6-10 people around the world, and now it's like hundreds maybe, or I don't know if hundreds, but tens of. I belong to this network called Red Iberoamericana de Videodanza, REDIV. We are 25 festivals from Latin America, Spain, and Portugal. And there's more and more young people in charge of festivals, and like you two, for me, for me, not for everybody, like Francesca and Sofia, they have their own look, their own regard, right? So you have your own context, and it is important to give audiences a context also, because we cannot assume, right, because everybody has TikTok, they have any idea of what screen dance is, or who is Maya Deren, or so many things that are so dear to us, right? So we have our love for our genre or our language. We having a discussion, especially in Latin America, not to call it a genre but a language, because, well, it's an academic discussion. That is also new. So many academic papers and people who are relating theory to practice, and they are leading really the next current. Some of them are researching on history, but many of them are researching on their present times. And I feel very fortunate to be a witness to all this. And it also makes me think, as my work as curator, nobody can watch all the video dance that exist. Like it used to be that I felt I've seen most of it, but now it's just like, who knows? You like we said, I don't know, but here we say you pick up a stone and below the stone, there was a documentary maker, right? Because the new big wave. Now you pick up a stone, you see filmmaker, right? Because there's everywhere, and I think the universities and international institutions and curators, festivals, in other kind of curation, like online curation through playlists, and we have an important role, because we have many more audience members, many more, right? Many audience members.
Yeah.
And that is nice. So yes, we cannot rest on our laureles.
Yes, Regina, did you want to say something?
Sophia, your question, I think the aesthetic is not so much changing, right? For me, the what is really changing is the format, the supports, and the amount of people that are working on it. Not so much as that. I don't see. I mean, maybe I don't know those words yet.
Yes, sorry, Regina, did you wanted to add something?
Well, maybe to Francesca's question, more about in going in a bit in a different direction, because other part of this changes also in aesthetics and tools. would be also the interactive media, which is the fastest growing sector in arts development. I think we can fairly state that. And also there is a huge opportunity for dance in general as a language, because it's, of course, it's adopted by new technologies, and it's like sectors like VR, for example, which is very fast growing. Dance has a lot to offer.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
We have to be clever enough to, as they say, I hate the word sorry, monetize it, right? Because for me it sounds awful, like monetize. It's not about like, clicks equals money, da 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 da. I don't really like that. But there's other, like, the huge internet content providers. They're like, bigger than any TV channel station now. And sometimes I see some video dance, like, Tom York's, what was that, Anima, right? And some of my friends told me, "Oh, there's a video dance out there. Da, da, da. Why don't you watch?" Like there's more awareness than it used to be. Because in the 90s, you can see so many music videos that are really video dance, right? Others are not, of course. But nobody will never tell you, "Oh, that's a video dance." Nobody. Now there's more people who recognizes the language, the genre. So that is a huge opportunity. But we have to be clever enough to be able to get paid for that, right? Get paid for that. That's a huge struggle now. Not get paid in the sense of like monetizing, like if you're popular, because anybody can be popular, like you can like start online and get I don't know how many euros, but it's for the chains, right? For the corporations that they have to pay, right? And it's not only for us, it's for the actors, it's for the filmmakers. So the state or whatever governmental offices are there. In Europe, I read that they are starting to charge the OTTs, but here in Latin America, they're so used to get free content. But if I want to give away my content, I have so many ways to do it. But if they want to give away my content, it's not okay. Okay. If the huge corporations want to give away, well, they have to pay that they get. So it's well, sorry that I come back to money instead of aesthetic. I have to survive in order to create content.
But I agree. I mean,
if I don't survive,
I mean, it's absolutely normal to speak about money, salary, and because this is a job. I mean, it's not
I think it's also thinking about like myself coming from film, and I know like, and I think it's related with what we were saying before, that there is many more productions. So I think right now there is, if you want to make a mix with cinema and not only just putting a camera and filming yourself, but having a crew and having everything, that costs a lot of money. And with let's say the bigger awareness of screen dance, it is important. In my opinion, and I don't know if Francesca, you saw the same, and maybe Silvina and Regina, you also saw that I don't know if you feel there is a big difference, and you can see the films that come from a dancer's perspective and the films that come from a filmmaker's perspective, or like the ones that had like, can you spot the difference between the two, in the sense of there are some that have a bigger support and there are some that have a bigger like a team of filmmakers behind them, and well, I think you answered my question before, but what I was going for is that it is important to find a way to make like a mix between them, in the sense that it's not only because it is expensive to make a film. Like, it's important to balance things out and find a way to keep producing. I think I made like a whole mess of what I was saying, but maybe a question for you is, I was trying to summarize everything that we were saying, but maybe a question for you is, can you spot the difference between the films that are made um, like from choreographers and that come from maybe from a stage production and then are turned into a film, and can you tell the difference between the films that are thought as a film and then like have a choreographer like as a part of the team? If you know what I'm saying, like, can you tell the difference, and do you have any advice for anyone who would be watching who is either a choreographer or a filmmaker? Because in Lago we have like the films that are like every kind of film, not only dance films. So do you have any advice for anyone watching, like, uh, to make dance films, basically? It's a very big question, very big
Yeah,
question.
it's very huge. I have just to think about it, but if you want to start it.
Well, that's very good and very inspiring question. Opening
Yeah.
a lot of things to say, but maybe I will start from reflecting on the narratives and how the dramaturgy is built and how the narration of the film is built. Like, I think we can often tell the difference if the film is centralizing dance and choreography as a main point, or is it told as a from the beginning as a film, and all elements, including choreography, shooting, editing, music, are aligned to the one idea, main idea of the director. So this is I would say that this is a basic difference. We can almost always tell that if the work was invented by a choreographer or based on a stage choreography adapted to the film, or it started from the beginning as a cinematic form. So
No, I agree. I mean, you mean about the narration of a film, right? I mean,
yes, but also how the dance is presented. If it's clearly central, like there are several things like like this moving body selection.
Yeah.
So, or if the dance is one part of many that has equal role in cinematic storytelling. Both, I would say that one way is better than another. I think it's equal. It also comes with sometimes it's also other approach, like coming from visual arts, or so it's just different approaches.
Absolutely.
And it has its own. Each has its own possibilities and advantages, and also requires, I think, also some balancing in curating programs, especially if it's not curated only for dance film festival.
Yeah.
It's something we discussed before.
Exactly. Silvina, do you want to add something?
Yeah, well, I think sometimes in terms of reading, right, or watching a film and understanding where it comes from, sometimes you can't tell, but there's sometimes you know it's so well married, right? It's like that you cannot really tell. And well, I mean, it doesn't matter, right? It's like a game if you can tell or not. But as Regina said, I think there has been a development since the early days of cinema, right? But especially when when the technology became more available, that many choreographers studied profoundly filmmaking, right, as a tool or as a language, in order to get better at what they wanted or what they dreamt of, and sometimes they saw their own work and it wasn't totally satisfying from their point of view, and it used to be like there used to be lots of fights about editing and right what I need that movement, but no, the film doesn't need it, blah blah blah. Things, it looks like funny now, but there were fights that were really, really, really strong. But nowadays, I think partly because the audiovisual tools and language are all the in like 24 hours of our lives, so we have to learn either, and partly also because the development of the language in this last decades, there are better married, better hybridated on one side, and then on another side, I think, as Regina said, it's totally fair to have a work that it's the camera is a little bit secondary, in the sense that if the idea of the performance, I would say, not in the sense of theatrical or the stage, right, but the body performance, as a performance art people thinks it. I'm thinking about some works that we saw in our jury duty, are strong enough, and the camera is not so important, it's just correct. We used to think that that is not video dance, but I think it's important to be able to give a space to that also, in the sense that audiences don't go to theater. I mean, especially in these years, but in general, there's less people going to the theater than going to the movies or that watching movies online. So it's important that the screen dance genre is still it's a new stage, right? We've been discussing about what is scene, right? The escena, right? So people that comes from performing arts, and like, we love the theater and we love the lights and all the mystical thing, and being live in the same place that the dancers, and smelling the sweat and whatever, right? The stamp, the stomps of the dancers, and if they fell, I mean, everything is so romantic about that. But actually, the screen is a different kind of stage, right? So it has its rules. Like, for example, I'm hating the mess that I have, here, but that is my stage now. But anyway, but of course, there's other works that you see that right from the beginning, they have a mind set on that it works for the screen and only for the screen, another narrative, the dramaturgy, the filmic resources, if they have, like, I don't know, a drone or whatever they can get, or just, any resource from filmmaking, they are from the start thought as one thing, and that doesn't always mean that there wasn't a choreographer in the first place thinking about it. Usually it's a very good team, and usually teams go along in time, right? Like, if they went well, they do a second piece, like, for example, Victoria Marx and Margaret Williams in the 90s and 2000s, they did, like, I don't know, to name somebody that is not in the selection. So, they used to be like, some teams work for decades, right? And now I think the same thing happens. So if you got a very good team working with the right chemistry, you cannot tell who had the first idea. The important thing is that they go for it, and if they can discuss and have fights and everything, it's fine. The good thing is not like avoiding discussion. All the contrary, discussion is what makes the work so exciting. So I think also the film people that used to study film before Sophia's time used to be quite square in the sense of like, what is film? How do I place camera? What is a close-up, etc., etc., etc. Now the people who are teaching and studying film are much more open-minded, so they're really happy to take experimentation and new ideas into their own and translate it, right? So, now maybe the discussions and the fight are more about the work, about the artistic work, not so much about power, right? Hopefully. But I think that you can read in a work. If you can see if there's like one narcissistic soul that is using their power over everybody, or if it's a teamwork. Even when big stars, like, for example, Tom York that I mentioned, when you see that screen dance film, right, it is a music video, but it's also a dance, see the work. You can totally see the teamwork. And see the star told as a dancer what to do, accepting that. That's so nice. I think it becomes a work of love also, no, in a sense. So no problem with discussions. Let's discuss.
Absolutely. I agree. In general, yeah. Just to add something about your last word about discussion, it's very important. I mean, where there is discussion and feedback, then the ideas come out. I mean, and this map.
So I'm being very bold here. I'm suggesting Lago Film Fest.
Yeah.
To do work in progress or lab or something to develop people's ideas, right? I know Regina does it, right? You have a lab for developing projects in your own festival. Because it is so important to give space to people to talk about their work. Because when you leave school, you as an artist, it's kind of like, you're in the wild, nobody is obliged to tell you anything about your work, but you still need it. So in most every film festivals, they do have a laboratory or a work in progress or something to discuss about what's being done. And if it's not just about, post-production prices, that's not the whole thing. The important thing is, thinking people to tell you, okay, I see this, I see that. Well, Sophia can talk about that with her beautiful film mates.
Oh yeah. What's happened, Sophia? But I wrote down, Silvina, I wrote down this idea. It's very good. And especially for dance field, I think that really I will consider for next year. In general, also for performer, I mean, director of the movie, but also the performer that they are working. For me, the most difficult things is really to keep the networking. Sometimes it's very difficult. I don't know. People have a lot of problem to connect ideas, and seems that you want. I will use very simple words, but you can still, you want to steal the work of them. And for me, it's something really awful, and I love to share even contacts, something that can help to develop the work and go on with this. So I write down, and but I want to know about the experience of Sophia right now. What's happened?
Well, actually, it was like very like a very good experience for me. That I was well, in my own experience, I was doing my first dance film, and I didn't even know it was a dance film yet. And I had the amazing opportunity of, like, I submitted it to the to Silvina's festival, the Buenos Aires Video Dance Festival, to the laboratory there as a work in progress, and I think that's when I realized it was a dance film, because I had done like an experimental film workshop before, but I didn't know anything about dance film, and so it was very interesting. As a very interesting opportunity, as Silvina was saying, that doesn't happen a lot, or it doesn't happen enough, maybe, especially if you're a student, and even if you are an artist as well, like maybe you don't have such an opportunity to be in the same place as other people who are creating something while you are also creating something else, and well, yeah, then I made my film, and but that was like a big stepping stone. So I think yeah, for people who may be watching this and who may be like either coming from film or coming from dance and being like, oh, I don't know what to do, like I don't know how to create dance films, or I'm making a dance film and I would like to make more, I would totally suggest these kind of experiences, because they are very 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 enriching, uh, like and yeah, and having more opportunities, like creating more opportunities to have to praise work in progress. I think that's a great idea as well.
Totally. Absolutely.
So Francesca, did you have another one of the questions that we have, that we prepared a list of questions?
No,
And
just last point, because basically we did more or less, we were jumping from one topic to the other, but this beautiful, because we were a little bit stressed. We said, wow, I hope that the schedule worked, but worked really good. I like also to jump from one topic to another, because they are very connected. We cannot do in another way. But the last point that we wrote down, it's about creative strategies that the companies and artists were using during COVID, of course, where they were increasing everything. But I don't want to put my attention in a COVID period, but also creative strategies that professional companies or choreographer used to promote their job. And right now, well, we have so much tools, we said, and I think also social media helped a lot. This sharing of the work. And for example, may I point out just this, that also the streaming helped a lot. And it's something that we can say that we're happy that happened, no? Because we can see something far and we have not to travel, and we can really see the work of many artists. So this is my maybe last topic. If you want to say something about it, or Sophia, maybe as an artist. Me, for example, as a performer, outside of the dance screening, we use a lot, and the technologies to connect each other. I'm working as solo, and we were of course far. I was in Spain, and my choreographer was in Germany. So we connected by internet, unfortunately, but also luckily. So we could really keep going to work, and it's just a tools, a bridge to connect the people. If you want to say, maybe Sophia, you had a direct experience about it, about
well,
how
I would say that yes,
new creative strategy.
well, I would say like for me, it has also been very like a quite a big opportunity to think outside the box. Also, I think we, as Silvina was saying earlier, we have seen lots of things being repeatedly done. So I think it's it's a challenge, but it's a really interesting challenge to find ways of with the opportunities that we have, how do we think about outside the box, and how do we like take advantage of the opportunities we have to like at hand to keep on creating. And I think connecting with other people outside the world, that's a really good opportunity to do it now, and or like to do it like I mean, because it's something that maybe we didn't think so much before, like that it was so easy to do it. And I think that's quite even myself doing these interviews for Lago, for the other directors, it was like a great chance to just talk to somebody and be like, oh, what are you doing, how did you do it? And even just having the opportunity to talk, not only create something, but keeping in touch with other people who are creating, that's already a great creative strategy. And it is true that there seems to be lots and lots of new dance film festivals, and also existing film festivals that are creating dance like dance sections. So I would definitely see, like, I would suggest to anyone, like, okay, just research a lot of that. And yes, that would be my thing, my approach to creative strategies now. Yeah, Silvina, what do you think? Oh, sorry.
I think, sorry, I think that many of the tools that were already available through the pandemic and the lockdowns, we were all forced to use it, to learn or to use it more often, blah, blah, blah. Of course, then you have to have a limit, at least for me, of how much I can be connected through internet in one day. But that's another thing. But
I agree totally.
For everything, not only in the art field, but like for doing things with institutions like banks and hospitals and stuff that used to be like you have to be there a whole morning, and now it's like, go online, make an appointment, go 15 minutes. I mean, there's lots of tools that I would like not to go away, like the streaming, for example, of great performances. And then, for example, I remember for 2019 that the Cunningham Foundation did these huge performances, and they did a live screening like all over the world in one day. And there, and we put a small screen at a theater and a little audience. That's the only way you Cunningham, right? Because then after that they log it all again in the archive, and then you have to start going around to see how you can see those works. But the streaming, I think it's a huge tool. And then for discussions also, it's huge, it's so important. And then also to be able to bring down the amount of traveling, both in sense of the planet, right? Taking a little bit more care about the planet, because it's not only that I wanted to have my vacation, or I want to go to that festival, or no. Also to be able to have more respect, right? And for example, those, again, going back to money, the mobility schemes, right, that are for artists, that are so good. And of course, we cannot replace the body and with the screen. But anyway, there are lots of things that we can use. And for example, putting some resources on making giving money for the artists to have a better connectivity or a better home, right? If we have to be locked down, why don't we have some schemes for like having a better space for working, so the remote work would be better and more successful and more accessible to people? Because also we have to think about audiences. You know, culture is a right. It's a human right, right? So of course we're very concerned about how to survive as artists, as curators, and as culture programmers. But it's also for the audiences that are anywhere to be able to have that cultural nutrition on their daily diet, not only the last huge film by blah 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 Disney or whoever, but also other things. And so there has to be huge investments or connectivity and less investments on plane tickets, I think. That was something that already a person from Switzerland who is an artist and also works for the national arts funding thing told me that they have already started to think about less plane traveling, because of course, actually, you know, the countries schemes are always like, let's export artists, right? So let's export our artists so we can have our flag in I don't know, in South Africa or in whatever, in Buenos Aires. So we have our own national flag somewhere, right? And well, you can put your flag right in the corner of a thing, but you know, allow the audiences to see things that don't come to your neighbor through this, and then also allow artists to have a better conditions to create that online work. Again, it's not free in the sense of maybe the ticket is free, but the creation is never free, right? The creation only investing time and money. I mean, pardon, time and work, or you have a rich partner, right, that doesn't care like it used to be. Sorry, I'm going too long, but
no.
But I think creativity is always there. You know, as long as an artist, as an audience has a little tool, they will make the most of it. So you never see an artist that making less that can be done. We always do more than can be done. But of course we have to eat, pay our bills, pay the internet connection, feed our children or whoever we have in charge, our old people. So well, it has to be viewed as a human right and not as a consuming thing. It's not only marketing.
Definitely not. And also maybe with the more and more an international view, that artist doesn't have the just a national passport. I mean, we are, as you said, we are creating the really it's a human right arts, and I really strongly believe that we cannot be so national. We cannot put nationalism in art. Okay, so international, it's my keyword always, because now there is a big tendency, you know, to protect what we are producing in our country, in their own country, and you know, push the artists from that country. But for me, it's really something that it's good in one way, but in the other way, it's destroying a little bit the relationship between artists, art in general. So for me, this is really a point. I saw in last, let's say, 5 years, a big change on this, a big change. But okay, this is my last words. We could discuss forever and ever, but despite everything, I hope to see you all, Sophia and Silvina, in person. Sincerely, I hope really that this discuss could keep going, but face to face would be really great. Would be really great. Do you want to add something? I'm watching around Sofia, Silvina, and Regina before to say hello to everybody.
Well, I don't know if we still have a little bit of
Yes,
time.
sure.
Well, perhaps one, because I couldn't agree more with what you just said about internationality and collaboration. But perhaps one little thing I would add about what the last year opened as an opportunity.
Yeah.
Because as we said before, for many dance companies,
Yes.
screen became a new stage.
Yep.
But it also came with other opportunities to present work. I don't mean internet and social media. I mean more in terms of streaming and VOD platforms. And many companies started to develop their own VOD platforms. And not only to present the camera relay of stage works, but also creating new film works as a part of the repertoire. But it also creates space to invite other dance films to show it together. So in the past, perhaps even 5 years ago, production of dance film was mostly intended for distribution in festivals and perhaps cinematic distribution, however art house it is, but still, and perhaps for TV broadcast. And now the field widened very much. I think there are so many more opportunities also with small streaming platforms, not necessarily the biggest one, but also there are a lot of new platforms with art films and with a lot of interest in dance, especially. So I would really recommend artists also to research that opportunity.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I totally agree with this.
Great. Thank you. I'll do my research as well.
Yeah. So I think that we can say hello to each other. Sophia, do you want just to say something to finish?
No, I think it was. I'm very happy that we kind of covered, as you were saying, everything that we had. We just connected all the dots between the questions that we had prepared. So it was a very interesting conversation with you. Thank you for joining us, and thank you again for your work as juries of Lago, and yes, and well, the winners will be announced today, right? Tonight.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
So we're very happy about that too.
Okay, so have a great ceremony, and please send me notes afterwards or something about what happened at the ceremony. And I'm looking forward. I have to say that I've been following Lago Film Fest remotely, just as a fan, and I really love the spirit. I think it's
Thank you very much.
Very interesting, interdisciplinary, and outdoors, and like it has many aspects that I really like, and I congratulate you and all the teams that are working there, because I think it's not always easy to, keep going, but it really supports other people as well. So what you do at the festival has a, like an echo in other people who don't actually attend. So murder tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much also for your words, and thank you that you contribute to create this first year of the competition. So thank you very much also to Giovanni, of course, Sofia, Silvina, and Regina to be part of it. Really, thank you. Thank you for having me. From the bottom of my heart. So bye, guys. Thanks a lot. and have a nice day. And we keep in touch.
Definitely.
Thanks again. Bye.
Nice meeting you, Regina.
Ciao.
Bye.
Hasta luego.